This is about privacy and individual autonomy. The second you say that you and the government, which is us, have a right to force someone else to be pregnant against their will, then you are saying they no longer have bodily autonomy. And if you're saying that it's because there's a life involved, well, what about all those privacy issues where there is no life involved? If raping someone causes less harm than killing a fetus, should we allow rape?
Yeah, but the thing you're missing out is that
you said, yeah, but
like,
I'm so fucking done with you, Ben. I just asked you if we should allow rape, and the first words out of your mouth were, yeah, but. That either means you weren't listening.
Obviously we shouldn't allow rape. No. Okay, yeah, we shouldn't allow rape. But you're framing it in such a way where you're framing all this stuff where it's like, oh, people have to have sex and you have to have like, things that counteract that. Nobody has to have sex. Nobody's making people have sex.
Nobody should be fucking you, that's for sure.
Don't have sex.
Absolutely nobody should be having sex with you.
Scientific. Well, it sounds
like
you
don't eating?
Want to your personal test. No, I'm kind of wrapping that up, but
so you are eating. So when I say are you eating and you say no, I'm wrapping that up, that means you're eating.
No,
you're not starting off well.
Eating.
Bring your gum to class. How dare you?
Yeah, I don't find testimonies. I don't find testimony impressive. I had my own testimony for a number of years. There's limits, but let's start with the scientific.
I would believe your testimony. Like I wouldn't reject your experiences.
Yeah, and you would be. That's the problem. Thank you, John. If you believe my testimony, you would be mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Right. So if I was to give you a testimony of my experience with God, would you reject it?
Probably. I believe that whatever you tell me is your best explanation of what you think you experienced, but it isn't confirmation that a God exists.
I don't think it's.
Wow. Am I going to finish a sentence?
I don't think it's.
I guess not. Go ahead, Forrest.
Well, I was going to if just to follow up with the exact same thing you said, if I were to give you my testimony of the pixies that live in my attic, would you believe me because I said it?
Well, I would want to, see the evidence, and I'd be completely open to it. I wouldn't shut it down or rule it out because there's just too much about the world and reality that we don't know about. And to rule things out that don't make sense to you personally, I don't think that's fair.
Private fan group, that's time.cc/FBAXP and FBAXPPR. FBAXPPR. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Continuing on. We're doing really good.
My point is that because I'm his father, and I think any decent father would understand where I'm coming from, the point is he's never going to see it my way. He can't use any reasoning.
This is like saying, how can any of us who don't have Sith Jedi powers evaluate the actions of Darth Vader?
I'm asking you for clarification. Did Newton say that? Why are you being just obnoxious from the get-go? I'm asking a clarifying question.
Shadow projecting your own hostilities on me. Excuse me.
Okay, well, how about I project this hostility on you? Goodbye, sir.
Are you asking what got rid of the gases on our planet? Because I would say nothing, because we still have a bunch of gases on our planet, right?
So you can't see 2 feet in front of your face, like they theorized would have been.
You're aware that like the air that surrounds us is gas.
All of this stuff
is gas.
Shannon, are you sure?
If you ignore 98% of the pattern, it fits the pattern. But if I say the number is 1, 13, and 70, you cannot then say, I now predicted how to count to 1,000 because I got some of it in a pattern. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make sense.
Let me explain to you how conversation works. We're sitting here and I'm explaining why I didn't buy the bullshit you spewed the first time. And when I finish, I'm going to end it with a question and offer you the chance to explain yourself. And that's when I will unmute you. But if when I unmute you, you're already talking, that means you weren't listening to what I said, even though you're the one who accused me of not listening. And I'm the one that's been the most accurate during this discussion. If you're talking when I unmute you, that means you're waiting for your turn to speak. And it doesn't mean that you were listening at all. The reason that I am screwing everything up today, but other people are managing to get it right and in the right order no matter what I do, is because we have this awesome crew who are, well, right there, I think, yes. The cat is in charge, and see, that cat looked up right as soon as I acknowledged it. That's our Lord and Master. We all worship at the feet of the cats. I don't know.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing as the church who said that gay marriage is holy and therefore gay marriage is religiously protected. It's the same thing as the church, the Satanic Temple, that says if you're going to have your holy statue, you have to have the statue of Baphomet. It's the same thing as the people who said that abortion is a part of their religion and therefore abortion rights. We get what you're saying. It's been done a bunch. Good luck to you, but it doesn't usually work.
How can you know the Holy Spirit did it? I can't prove what I just said any more than you can. Are you a mathematician? Are you? First of all, you're interrupting me. Stop, please. We've let you talk. Now I want to say some things. I thought you Canadians were nice, by the way, so you need to not interrupt me.
We try to be.
And yet none of us know what each of us means by energy in each specific situation. If I were to tell Jim that I was having a really low energy day, well, contextually, Jim would understand that I'm feeling weak or tired or down, that I'm not feeling particularly energetic. And most of you could figure it out too. But if I told Jim that I had detected some trickster energy, he'd probably look at me like I was doing a bit.
I would assume you were.
Hey, man, the Catholic Church created Islam, and the Catholic Church killed 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. And I am a former member of a ministry that is under attack by the federal government because they speak out against the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. And I have had a conversation with a federal agent because of it.
Funky.
Shannon was just addressing the question of, of course you can believe anything that you want. I think what we're sort of more interested in here is what should we believe if we care about whether the things we believe are true, and whether or not there are other civilizations, other life forms out in the universe. That doesn't have anything to do with whether or not any of it was created, does it?
But what I'm trying to tell you is intelligence. So we have intelligence. We have
I'd love it if you'd answer the question I just asked you. I'd love that.
For why you wouldn't want to follow this being when there's a lot of positive that comes with it. And that's why I use the analogies of country.
Look, I don't think me or Jim are concerned about utility. If the lucky sock drawer gives me good days or makes me play basketball really good, that's great. But that adds nothing to preserving the truth value, right? It doesn't make it true.
Coincidences are God's way of remaining an
Okay, so first of all, quoting Einstein gets you nowhere because Einstein was an atheist who, according to his own words, the best God version he had was the God of Spinoza, which is not really any God close to what you're talking about.
Again, the book says that an angel is going to dump out a hot steaming bowl of wrath after a bunch of other angels dump out their bowls of wrath. And there's just this sort of wrath bukkake happening all over the earth. And then the angels cause the river to get dried up supernaturally.
Hey, do you shop on Amazon? Yeah, you do, because Daddy Bezos owns us all.
Okay, I have a question on what you said.
Yeah.
You said something about something being hateful, that Jesus loves you is hateful?
Yeah, absolutely.
How so?
Basically, I don't want to give you, so I want to talk over it too.
Yeah.
So when this is perfect, about what we were just talking with the other person, is that, when a Christian person says that God loves you, Jesus loves you, whatever, things like this, they almost certainly hear that as a very kind, inclusive, generous, loving thing to tell you that you're welcomed and you're loved and how wonderful. But I'm hearing this from the outside looking in. I'm looking at the whole philosophy, the whole shebang. It's not just about love. The whole dogma here is that we are inherently sinful people, that we cannot possibly be good. We are irredeemably just sinful, wicked, evil, broken, diseased, whatever. And the only way for us to get into heaven, to live with paradise and all those things, is by being forgiven, by being Christian, by believing, by confessing, by all these things. And otherwise, without that, we go to hell, an eternity of torture, of conscious anguish and pain in a lake of fire. And this is heaped upon also the assumption that God, the ruler of the universe that controls everything, nothing happens without his okay. And it is always a his, isn't that fun? That this God
designed the universe this way on purpose, and that he is all just, that what he does is the right thing to do all the time. And so what you're telling me when you tell me that Jesus loves me, you're saying half of it. You're not saying Jesus loves you, period. You're saying Jesus loves you so much that if you don't love him back, he is going to torture you in hell for all eternity because you are so disgusting and evil and wicked and broken that is the only good thing to have that could possibly happen to you. It would be morally right if you were tortured forever, but he loves you, and so it doesn't have to
Jesus loves you or else.
Exactly. So it's a threat. It's a twisted mockery of love. It's an insult. It's a really, really mean and hurtful thing to say to somebody, especially if they don't believe.
A complete close incestual list of things that they did. So from a genetic perspective, you should be glorifying God that he wiped them out.
Whoa. From a genetic perspective, we should glorify the murder of humans because they were
of close
inbreeding.
Incestual breeding that would have spawned humanity. Absolutely.
How is that justified? Would are people in that case, are those humans?
You have evidence. Me being a materialist, me being a property dualist, me being an idealist has nothing to do with the evidence of why God exists, right? I could just imagine I'd like died, right? I'm dead. Now give the evidence, or all atheists are gone, right? What's the evidence? That's not going to all of a sudden do anything to change the view, right? So what's the evidence? If you talk about atheist or materialist or naturalist, I'm just going to cut you off because you've already messed up. It's your view.
We got David in Arkansas. Pronouns are he, him. Welcome, David. You had a question about atheists and abortion. So welcome to the abortion show.
The thing is, it's not an atheist topic to me. To me, there's not blanket atheist morality. And I'm an atheist, and I am like Ben, and I don't want to get angry or being disrespectful, but
you have a shit position just like Ben. This is about us ruining our world because we think that it's designed, because we don't understand design. The hallmark of design is not complexity or utility. The hallmark of design is simplicity. And design needs to be demonstrated, not inferred or assumed.
Yeah, I guess so. He does mention utility there. So I guess I would be disagreeing with Douglas Adams as well. But
His own analogy.
What I think is that
that's a good way to be, you know?
Argument.
Clearly, it's a dizzying intellect you have when you're going to disagree with the creator of the analogy because it doesn't fit the narrative that you want to spin when your narrative hasn't convinced either of us either. Maybe it's time to rethink the narrative because now you sound absolutely asinine. Is there no difference between what's true and what's not true? Because that's the level that you're denying now when you say there's no difference between natural and supernatural.
I don't necessarily see that. I mean, I'm just
go study. You'll get to it eventually. Thanks.
You said
They can all be
there's
false.
a God. How do we get there? You said there's a God.
Right, because I'm more so saying that I know that we have had like contact from different different entities.
How do you know that?
Aren't from this world.
How do you know that?
Well, so this would be getting into UFO phenomena and things like that are more evidential, that are easier to be skeptical of if you don't research it. So it's like you can just not know.
Yeah, so I have researched it and I'm still skeptical. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't even know where the goalposts are at this point.
I'm not even sure if I'm in my body anymore because I don't know if you listened to anything that SR was just saying to you. I think you're just waiting to respond. I've enjoyed hearing your thoughts on this. Maybe formulate them a little bit more coherently so that you can connect to what it actually says in the text without having to speculate something the text doesn't even say.
So basically, it has many components, right? So in order,
you're trying to make an argument from complexity, and I'm going to let you finish, but you've already wasted more than your minute. So rather than talking about what phone I have, make the argument from complexity so that I can rebut it.
Yeah.
Or Kenneth can.
I have a watch too if you want to make a watchmaker argument.
We see this concept of what we call terror management. And terror management is simply, to summarize it, very, very overly simplifying it, is the idea that it's a lot more pleasant to think that God is in control, or even that something horrible, the secret society of lizard people, is in control. That's a lot nicer to think about than to think nothing's in control, everything is chaos, I could die at any time. That's very scary. But it's easier just to say, it's cool. Whatever bad thing happened was actually a good thing, and God wanted it to happen, and he's watching over me, and it's beautiful.
So he created everything. He created you, and you're eating his food, you're breathing his oxygen.
No, I'm eating my food and I'm breathing my oxygen.
Yeah, he didn't go down to the HEB and make payments for me.
Prove that your God did any of the things that you just claimed.
Like, if you just have this this claim that, like, if God exists, then you know it, right? You know it, therefore God exists. Like, it's really easy to take that argument and just be like, okay, like, if God exists, you know it. I don't know it, therefore God doesn't exist, right? Because you're specifically defining this God as having everybody having knowledge of it. I don't have knowledge of it.
I don't really care if you believe it or not. You can't deny the science there, right? That's the point. That's the point of this show. You want evidence.
There isn't science there to deny. There's no...
And in 2011, I had given up on God. I've been searching for him since I was 11. And I could tell you a little bit story about a Baptist.
But I thought you said you are God. Aren't you God? Aren't you God?
I'd given up on God about then too.
Did you just like turn around in circles in your living room looking like, aren't you? I thought you said that you were God.
So you gave up on yourself.
Sure. Good to talk to you, Jim and Matt. So I have just a short, quick argument to show that most theists know that God doesn't really exist. I know people have saddled you saying that you know that God does exist, so I'm here to kind of reverse that. Can I have a quick minute just to present my argument?
I will, and I'll warn you ahead of time. I'm probably going to shit all over yours the same way I shit all over the other one, but you knew that before you called in, didn't you?
Did you see God? Did you see God? You said
things unseen.
But you said
what if you have faith in the Martians, bro?
Yeah.
The Jesuits overthrew Salvador Allende.
All right, and we're done with Charles. Have a good day, Charles.
Going away from the church, they'll still jump on things like QAnon or fairies or witchcraft or things like that.
I have possible answers to that. Kenneth, do you have before I just go off on brain stuff?
I'm deferring. I want to hear the brain stuff.
Okay, cool.
Jesus Christ is the only physical evidence of God. And
There's no physical evidence of Jesus Christ. So how do you make that claim?
Because I believe the New Testament is a true story.
So what? I believe you're a unicorn in a human suit. Where are we now?
Well,
is it true for you, Kevin?
We could FaceTime if you like.
I've often thought about just visiting a few churches in the area just to see what they do and just drop in a little hint, when they say, ask me if I'm visiting. Yeah, I'm an atheist. I just kind of see what's going on just to watch their heads turn around like The Exorcist. But they just get him
out of here. He's going to talk to the kids. What I'm asking you is, what makes more sense? That we're so star-spangled special, that the entire universe was made around us with all the forces and all the different things all around us? Or does it make more sense to say that we evolved in this universe and all the things around us had an impact on us and we formed to it?
You don't know what a biological male is?
No, and I'm going to express that perhaps you don't either, which is why I would really encourage you to go to the evidence. Like you're talking to folks who have, kind of particularly dug into this sort of thing, and you don't have to believe what I believe or agree with what I agree with, but like maybe read some of the books that I'm reading, right? Or at least some books on some of these concepts.
Everything about them had to be wiped off the earth. They were evil.
Why did the animals, even innocent animals, that they didn't do anything bad? God found, the all-merciful God found that even the animals have to be killed?
If you look at it from a genetic perspective, the animals were probably just as inbred as they were.
I left the church when I was basically outed in front of the entire congregation. Since then, I've been looking at all kinds of different religions, and then I ended up Catholic somehow. But now recently, I've been...
Is it because you like to drink?
Do what?
Is it because you like to drink? I had a friend switch from Baptist to Catholic because he liked to drink.
That was probably a part of it.
I'm not asking you anything. I'm telling you that based on these two laws, that science cannot explain the fact that there is energy in mass. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not asking you anything.
So even if I accepted that, even if there was something that we do not understand, you don't get to then say, therefore it must only be magic. That doesn't make any sense. It would be like me saying, I have this Christmas present here and I didn't buy it, therefore Santa's real. That doesn't track.
For some people, I get it. Thinking's not fun. Problem solving's not that fun. For me, thinking is fun. And then when I realized that the answer was incredibly simple and had been staring me in the face, I was like, you dumbass. I'm harder on myself than I'm on anybody. But we're all going to make those mistakes.
Anyway, what you really should do instead of calling us, you should really call Truth Wanted Fridays and call them. They're much more interested in this stuff than we are. So anyway, you have a good afternoon and thanks for calling. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
It was, yep.
All right.
Okay. Well, let's take a moment to scrub our brains out and get rid of the weird.
Okay, well, you talk about with reality, but what is reality made of? I mean, what is your definition of reality? Like
everything that is.
You have no
whatever is actually going on around us. Yeah.
Okay, so that's your personal opinion because you have no real explanation.
Go pull out Merriam-Webster, but
I don't care about hypotheticals. If there is a God, that God can come talk to me and explain what he thinks and what he wants. And no God has ever done that. It's never been demonstrated that any God's done that for anybody at all. So hypothetically, fuck that God and every other God. I don't care if they're not going to give me a minute of their time, they don't deserve a minute of mine. But I'm going to give you a minute of mine so that you can make a case for your God. Go ahead.
Because when you go, no, you actually do suppress it. All you're saying is, no, I don't believe you. And you stick your fingers in your ear, right? That's not charitable. If I'm telling you I don't believe the proposition and you're just saying I suppress it, there's no way we can go forward because you're just saying, no.
Massive amounts of scientific evidence shows that hitting children, that spanking actually does way more harm than it could ever do good. And just to get back to what we said a second ago, if you don't believe science, I don't fucking care what you believe.
Yeah, and I've said to people, are you allowed to be snarky in heaven?
Right.
Because it would seem to your point that you can't, like, I can't imagine any sense of humor in heaven. You're just
I'm a sarcastic bitch.
out
Do I get to do that in heaven?
Yeah.
Right, and I definitely see what you're saying, and it's very, very, a very good argument. But you must also understand you're asking a group of people who believe in invisible things to bring evidence. That's why I think it's disingenuous. Remember, the nature.
No, Gary. There's nothing disingenuous about saying bring your evidence, and then they show up and say we don't have enough evidence. That's their fucking problem, not mine. It doesn't make them reasonable. It doesn't make them rational. I'm pointing out that they can't meet their burden of proof. They haven't. They consistently failed. How is that a problem with my thinking that they can't meet their burden of proof?
Which you can see people using the chat at this very moment. How exciting is that? The Atheist Experience is also just one of the many shows that are put on by the ACA. So make sure to check out, all those other shows as well. We've got sexuality. I can't do it, man. Secular sexuality.
Yes,
I was trying to say sexual sexuality.
Yes, you can.
That's so weird.
This is interesting. You're taking me back to, I'll out myself. I was an English major as an undergrad. So I used to sit, I know. I used to sit in classrooms and people would read books. And then, in the realm of sort of like, literary analysis and textual criticism, people could make these sort of post hoc rationalizations with the stuff that they read and go, oh, okay, I know that the story was about Jack and Jill going up a hill, but what if what it's really about is how everything is math? And then we would talk about it. I'm wondering if that's what you're doing with the Bible.
Anyway, we're not going to go on that tangent. There's a tangent I can go on. Someone can ask me about if they really feel like living dangerously, because I've got an entire rant, and I've had one for almost 30 years. On that topic. Anyway.
That rant is old enough to rent a car.
But it's a little bit, I'm sorry to say this, but it's a little bit offensive, because I'm
let's not talk about it. Well, let's talk about the New Testament apostles.
I find the Bible offensive, but
so this God is saying, I'm going to judge you for eternity based on if you believe in me. I'm not going to give you a reason to believe in me. If you really, really believe in me already, I might confirm it, but I might not. But at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to fry for eternity, not me. I'm the king. Who cares? That sounds like a kid with a magnifying glass burning ants. So what do you feel about all the people who are Muslim, all the people who are Jewish, all the people who are Hindu, all the people who believe in indigenous tribal religions from around the world, all the other religions all around the world who have the exact same story as you? I was doing this sacred ceremony. I was reading from this scripture. I did this thing and it changed this person's life. They saw our God or gods. They felt the exact same experiences. Like, why is it that every other religion has the exact same story that you have?
Oh, and naturalism. Don't forget me.
And
I went to the woods and I smoked a joint, and naturalism revealed itself to me in such a way that I can't be wrong.
No. It's impossible to experience an eternity before death because an eternity doesn't end. And that, by definition,
yes, I don't mean an eternity. I mean a very long time is all.
Well,
there's totally there's not an eternity, but thank you.
I feel like a near eternity on some of these calls.
Irrelevant. All right. So you asked the question, I'm going to answer it. I would say you gave us this book, okay, that makes all kinds of metaphysical and spiritual and supernatural claims, and there was no evidence to believe any of it. There were these gospels that said that your son came and did all this stuff, and there was no reason to believe any of it. And then if I read further, Romans says, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. It says the wages of sin is death. And then in Ephesians, it says, for by grace we are saved through faith and not of ourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. So if you knew, God, that faith was this necessary component that had to come to you, to my sinful ass, because I couldn't have it on my own, why wouldn't you give me either the evidence or the faith if you wanted to have a relationship with me, is what I would say.
Can I tell you, like, maybe this will help you better understand where we're coming from, so that you can like move away from this. We're just like, this is stupid, because it's not, right? Like, this is what when somebody says God created everything and therefore I have an explanation for reality and you do not. What I hear is I have concocted an entity that definitionally explains everything. I have no proof for it. I don't need to demonstrate it, nor can I demonstrate it, but it definitionally explains everything because that's the way that I've defined it. Therefore, I am right and you are wrong because you don't believe in this thing, this entity that just definitionally explains everything. Because it definitionally explains everything, it has no explanatory power. It explains nothing at all. It no more explains anything than it explains nothing. It has absolutely no explanatory power. The only way to get to having any sort of explanatory power is to critically analyze the objects in reality and see how they interact, measure it, observe it, talk about it, discuss it. Those are the ways to do tangible things. You have something that's entirely intangible and unprovable that you're just saying, you're just speculating and positing. This explains everything. And then when I say, no, not only does it not explain anything, it actually also explains nothing because of the way you've defined it. You say, well, that's just personal incredulity. What's your problem? I'm right because I can explain all of reality with my magic explanation. That's an explanation by definition. So, mic drop. I win. That is what I hear.
Okay,
but it explains nothing. It may as well just be nothing.
No, the Bible says, "See that you do not enslave each other like you do the foreigners." So God did not want Israel to
So you can. So slavery is okay for the right group of people. Is what your judge
Don't
said.
enslave these people like you enslave other people. And you wanted me to think that that's the Bible saying slavery is immoral. You should be embarrassed, sir. And he just went back to the yes, but I think a revelation from God's more important than J. Mike. I do too. I love you, J. Mike. You're awesome. But I think a revelation from God would be more important than what J. Mike has told me. Fortunately for everybody in the world, we have no examples of any revelation from any God ever.
Green, but what about
you're getting somewhere.
What about a colorblind God?
You're getting somewhere.
Colorblind.
So
what's green to him?
Listen, William, I know that you are scared to death to have an honest conversation about this, but we're going to try it.
It's fun in the studio. You're too competitive. I talked.
No, I'm not.
Paul was on the
exactly
show.
The right amount of competitive.
Paul was on my show Monday, and we talked about how competitive he was. But I saw you in the chat. You're even talking about how more competitive you are. So anyway.
Yes, I'm very competitive about how competitive I am.
Yeah, you are.
If you're going to do it halfway, do it all the way, because God says in the Bible, if you're lukewarm, I'll spew you from my mouth, and you have to be fervent and fiery and all this stuff. So if you're already at the doubting phase and the criticism phase, you've already lost the battle. Why not say F you and just be done with it?
You think that the soul and the mind are synonymous with each other? They are the same thing? Is that a fair statement? Hello? Oh, we've lost him. Darn!
Dan, you tease.
Oh, man. I always say every time I'm hosting, no one wants to call and talk about the soul. And then finally someone called to talk about the soul. And the moment I had the first question,
Call back, Dan.
Oh, guys.
The definition of agnostic is not correct. First off, they say the first definition is the person that believes nothing is known or can be known of the existence of God. I wouldn't make that claim. I just neither believe nor disbelieve. There's a semicolon in there. If you look it up on Google and you Google agnostic, there's a semicolon that separates those two.
Yeah.
And the second term applies to me. The first does not. They have hijacked the definition of what an agnostic is.
Who is they?
Them. Giant ants.
I'm going to point out, I'm going to miss being on AXP. This is for the foreseeable future going to be my last time sitting in this spot because my wife and I are about to have a bebe, and I'm back to focus on family stuff.
Good for you.
Is. I'm gonna take a minute. Everyone, I see all the gossip. I see all the people on the forums, on the Twitter talking about the ACA. I'm gonna expose the ACA right here, right now. It's an outstanding group of people. I feel very fortunate getting to hang out with all of y'all.
If we came from a monkey and we evolved into something greater than a monkey, why is there still monkeys? Why is there still chimpanzees?
I have to ask.
And why are we
have
people?
to ask. Greg, or James, sorry, I apologize. I have Greg over here on the other side. James, I'm going to ask you a sincere question. I mean this. I really genuinely do. I'm not trying to fuck with you. Are you being serious right now?
Because I get real squeamish when people start saying, men be like this and women be like this, because it's just cultural bullshit. I mean, it's hacky 90s stand-up more than anything.
Or let's say I have a string of bad days, and I could cite evidence that's evidence for like a good day fairy or something that's just like giving me good days, right? I can construct that type of evidence pretty easily, right? It's pretty easy to construct that. But if I don't generate some prediction in the future that I can like verify or I could even falsify, then like seemingly giving that type of a reason for the belief is distinct from just having the belief or having the belief because like I have a hunch.
This God, if he is wholly perfect and self-sustaining and wholly content, there is no reason to require anything additional. In fact, the addition of anything, like his desire to do anything, allow me to finish, because I don't think you're understanding. The addition of anything, his having a desire for anything, means that he is not already wholly contented and self-sustained. That creation is a refutation to that attribute of God, should you want to give him that attribute, is what I am saying. And
That's
you're saying
a
that's an
philosophical
assertion, and I'm
argument.
saying it's a logical deduction.
Yeah. Tell me why that's not illogical.
Okay,
Why
but
that's
you're
not
not making
logical.
any better argument than Robin did. You're not making any better argument than Robin. And my premise.
We are making extreme hypothetical statements here. And so to say that you're going to base your belief in this reality on the potential possible rules of other realities, you realize how that's kind of it's an issue, right? Like that's going to lead you down some weird roads. And furthermore, like we said a minute ago, you can't apply this to anything else, no matter what's going on with it. If I said exactly every single thing, word for word, that you said this call, but I replaced the word God with the tooth fairy, that it must be omnipotent and all these things, because it can be in all these different beds at once to pick up teeth and all these things. It has all these amazing, it's outside the space. What every single thing that you've talked about this way, like it wouldn't make sense to you, and it wouldn't hold up, and you wouldn't be talking about any of this stuff.
If you're talking about what I think you're talking about with this bibliographical test thing, we're talking about whether the biblical texts that we have now match the sort of earlier manuscripts. But that doesn't have anything to do with whether what's in like the actual claims
Right.
is true. So I'd be like, objection, relevance. So
Bill wants to start a secular church. Why doesn't the ACA do that?
In nomine Patre Domine.
Kalima, Avam Shaba, Avam Shaba, Avam Shaba.
I think we just did.
Yep. Bill?
What will it take for you to start opening your eyes, to start questioning the bullshit everyone around you buys? You think it's any of your business what goes on between my thighs? I wonder when we'll be rid of your lies.
It's time to get sexy, so watch Secular Sexuality Live Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central. Visit tiny.cc/YTSS and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect to the show online at tiny.cc/callsex.